What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Now, Bungie recently had a reveal for the Edge of Fate, one of many to come as we get up to the actual release of Edge of Fate. And I wanted to take this time to talk about and kind of recap what happened. And if you've seen any of my other videos talking about Bungie and the Edge of Fate, you know I like to keep it positive because I love Destiny. I appreciate Bungie, and even though they have some bad will with the community right now, we like to stay positive. However, there are some things that I feel Bungie dropped the ball on during this reveal. So we'll talk about that, and let's just get right into it. So starting off, they have a new trailer with some devs talking about the game. They get into what Matter Spark is and Matter Morph, how it's going to work. And actually, this is one of the parts of the reveal that I was actually kind of excited for, because they showed that you can actually upgrade these new abilities and use them in tandem with other abilities. Something like going freely into Metamorph so that you can navigate through the Kepler and just shock everything around you. That stuff is exciting. I thought it was going to be kind of like a mechanic that you like deep sight, where you have to go hit a node, then you get access to that ability, and then you do one task, and then it's kind of over. I'm hoping that with them announcing that you can actually upgrade this, that you can actually use it in tandem with your subclass abilities, that this is more something in line where if you're on Kepler, you have access to those abilities. I think that would kind of elevate the entire experience, because it's not just a one-off ability that you get every now and then. It's something that you can use constantly and throughout the actual world. So big hope for that. We'll see when it comes out. Obviously, we still gotta get our hands on Edge of Fate. Next is where I feel that they really kind of dropped the ball. Now, the next part of the reveal, they're going over what the stats are and how they're changing in Edge of Fate. Now, if you watched any of the content that some of creators put out, those who went and actually played the playtest for Bungie, you'll know that they went over all the stats, they went over the exotics, they went over weapons that they had access to. Now, obviously, I didn't get invited out to that. I'm not anyone big, but everybody saw those. You had to have been under a rock if you didn't see at somebody's video. And this part of the review, I think, was for those people who don't look up guides, who don't consume Destiny content on YouTube streams or anything like that. It's really, I thought it was really for like the 9 to 5 players, the people who have jobs, families. They just get on, they play. They don't really consume content all day. They don't really look at stuff. They just play the game, and if they find it in the game, that's what they do. And for new players, if you're a new player, if you're seeing Destiny, you're seeing what's going on, you want to get into it. This is the end of kind of the light and dark saga ended with Final Shape. So Edge of Fate is kind of like a good jumping in point. You don't got to worry about all the past stuff. You can kind of just jump into the new stuff. This part of the stream was for them, for the new players and returning players. And it kind of felt meh for me. Honestly, I had seen all of this already, and it was cool for them to kind of explain what their thought process was. They did say, like, if you want to be the melee build person, then you could go be that melee build person. You can build into your melee stat, and that's what we were going for. But we kind of already knew that's what they wanted to do, because of everything they had said before and what these content creators put out for videos after the playtest. So the second part after they explained the stats was them going over the new exotics, which again was something that we already knew. We already knew what was going on. We are with the stats. We already knew the exotics, what they were going to be. So this portion of the reveal, which was a big portion of it, kind of felt like we were just being told the same information over, and there was no real hype. Destiny Bungie reveals are always hype. The Lightfall reveal hyped us up. The trailer was big. The Final Shape trailer, where the Titan pulls out the axe, super hype. Like, those things are supposed to be hype. They tell us you're going to be doing this, you're going to be wanting to go and play this activity, this is why you want to play our game. And this reveal wasn't really that. It was kind of just playing it safe. Hey, this is the information you already have. This is kind of like what we're going to do, just trying to gauge whether or not everybody was happy with that, is what I'm thinking they're doing. And obviously, if you already knew all that stuff, you're not happy, because you wanted to see new stuff. You wanted to see, what am I spending my money on? Why do you want me to pre-order? And that's not what happened. And I understand the community's frustration. We're being fed nothing right now, and it's all just hope that Edge of Fate's going to be good. Edge of Fate's going to matter. It's going to be great. And that's not fun. Nobody likes to not know if they're paying for something worthwhile. In the end, I think Bungie did do a decent job of giving information to those players who don't watch YouTube, who don't stream on Twitch or watch Twitch streams. I think Bungie did a good job of giving information to those people who don't consume content and just play the game. Maybe they hear about a reveal and that's all they watch. New players. But I think Bungie, especially with all the controversy over Marathon and everything else going on, they really, really needed to hit these reveals hard. They needed to come out and show people why you want to buy this DLC, and they kind of dropped the ball on that. I will be honest, I like to stay positive, but they did kind of fail in that department. Next, though, something that I think was really exciting. We're getting back into the excitement, the hype, the little bit that was there. A new weapon archetype, a crossbow. Now, this is going to act like a bow. They said it's going to take, like, for all other purposes, bounties, all that stuff is going to be bow coded. But it is a crossbow, and it's a heavy legendary crossbow that takes power ammo. So we're going to get a crossbow. Now, when buried, what is it called? When the Warlord's Ruin exotic came out, I think it's buried something that exotic. It looks like a crossbow, like a little handheld crossbow, but it's not. It's a rocket assisted sidearm. And I was wondering why that. I felt like that if you had that design, that was a perfect opportunity to introduce crossbows. We already had the standard bow. Introduce crossbows. That'd be awesome. And they didn't, and now they are with the first ever heavy crossbow. And this thing looks super good. It looks super, like, it looks cool. And the way they described how it's going to play is super exciting. Not only is it a bow that shoots bolts, but these bolts interact in a very unique way. You can actually go and pick up these bolts, which means that theoretically, like they said in the reveal, you could have infinite heavy ammo. You could do a whole dungeon, a whole raid, a whole strike, nightfall with just your heavy if you go and pick up your ammo. Now, the problem there is that you got to put yourself in danger, right? But I think that's awesome. Being able to do that is so unique and cool. I feel like if the crossbow, is powerful enough, because it is in the heavy slot, that'd be awesome. That sounds awesome to play with, especially maybe not in a boss damage scenario, because you're not going to go pick up your bolts from the boss. But if you're running a nightfall, if you're running a strike, that sounds like a fun thing to throw on and just use. There are they mentioned multiple types of bolts. Two specifically, they mentioned one was explosive bolt, which does exactly what you think. It's going to hit the target, and after a time, it's going to explode. And then serrated bolts, which is going to hit the target, stay in them. Well, all bolts stay in them. And then you're going to go up and pull the bolt out, and it's going to do damage while you pull the bolt out, which is cool. That sounds a little gimmicky, though. I mean, depending on the enemy, I would much rather defeat them on the initial shot than have to run up and finish them off by pulling the bolt out. It seems kind of counterintuitive, but I mean, if I'm on my last bolt, I shoot the guy and he only has a little bit of health left. If I go up, pull that bolt out, I guess it's like getting up and finishing them. It's the same thing, and then I get ammo back. So we'll have to see how that plays, but it is very exciting. It does seem very cool, and I'm excited for crossbows. I hope they add more and more crossbows. Not everything has to be a heavy. It could be like a special weapon crossbow that does something cool, an exotic maybe. I'm excited. I like it. New weapon archetype, always fun. And then they go over weapon tiers, armor tiers, and the artifact. Now, this is another point where I feel like a lot of the Destiny community is going to have some pushback, but I feel like we've kind of known what this was going to be from the very get-go. They clarify that weapon tiers does not mean that your old gear is going to be phased out or be outclassed. Although personally, I feel like eventually your old gear will be outclassed, because if they're going to add tiers like they are now, there's nothing stopping them from just adding something else that makes those tier 5s even better. Like if you go get a tier 5, you're gonna have the best of the best. But right now I feel like everybody's gears either sitting around a tier 2 to tier 3 based off what they shown. If you're doing master content, grandmasters, you already have the top of the gear, and that stuff sits around a tier 3, I believe. So you're still your gear's gonna be viable in that end game content. I feel like what people aren't understanding is that one tier 4 and 5 gear we're not gonna get for a while, and tier 4 and 5 gear is mainly gonna be for that extra chase. You know, a lot of people right now get that god roll. You know, you're doing the nether. Let's say you get that god roll. You're doing a raid. You get that god roll, and you're happy. I got my dragonfly firefly, or my explosive payload firefly Fatebringer. I'm good. I don't need it. But for those of you who want that little extra, for those of you who want to go for that shiny or go for that master weapon, that's what tier 4 and 5 weapons are. That's what people who want tier 4 and 5s are going to get. That makes sense? If it's just extra, like you can get a weapon that has good perks, your god roll, and use that in endgame. That's going to be fine. But if you want those perks enhanced, you got to go do harder content and get that tier 4. And then if you want that again, more perks, more enhanced everything, you can go get that tier 5. And any tier 4 or tier 5 isn't. If you get a tier 5, it's not instantly going to replace your tier 3 because the perks matter. But if you get a tier 5 with the perks you want, why would you use a tier 3? You have a tier 5 now. You have all the little extra enhancements. You have the customizable, not customizable, the appearance stuff. Like, that's why tier 5s are important. Not because of power, but because it's the extra chase. It's the, hey, I got my Fatebringer, I'm good, but I want to go get a time loss Fatebringer. I want the silver one. I want the shiny one. It's just more loot to chase. So armor wise, I think your armor is going to be shitty. I think not super shitty, but shitty. You're going to want to go get armor. You want to go grind out the 2-piece, the 4-piece sets, and you're going to want to get the all of them. You want to get the whole set, because in the future, we've seen it time and time again where an old perk comes back and we're like, hey, I got something in my vault that's perfect for this. It synergizes, and you never know. In next year when we're playing the latest expansion, we may think, oh, hey, this artifact would work perfect with the Kepler armor 2-piece armor set. So I want to go get those. And you want to make sure you have those on hand, because you at that future time, you don't want to come back and grind Kepler. You want to grind Kepler now when it's new and shiny, right? So I'm going to be grinding armor when Edge of Fate comes out. I'll be grinding weapons because I want tier 5 weapons. Eventually I'll get there, but I'm going to keep going and grinding and power grinding and all of that, which they did mention we will get more information on in future reveals. But this reveal really at a base level was just, hey, here's a lot of information you already know, and here's a new crossbow. And that's really what it was. And I'm excited about the crossbow. I'm excited about armor. I always have been. But I feel like this next reveal, Bungie really, really, really needs to buckle down and just tell us why we should be playing your game. Tell us why we want to be playing Edge of Fate. Tell us why we should care, and just get us excited. Get us excited. Show us something new. Show us why you want us playing Destiny. Is there anything in this reveal that got you excited? Did you watch it? Are you excited for Edge of Fate? Are you pre-ordering? Let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, make sure you hit that sub button, and I'll catch you in the next video.